Hello, Village Gamers. I hope you are doing great. It's a bit early for me, but for Adam, it is already April Fool. So happy April Fool to everyone. Go easy on the teasing. And before we start right in the show, as usual, please, click up on the bell, subscribe, share, and, all of this, you already know that. So today on the news, we're gonna talk about when you don't have too many IPs, but they are very important, what you do in between. That's what Adam gonna talk about today with our dear friend of Atlas.
Oh yeah, so in Atlas today, we obviously sorry, getting out of order here. So Atlas has just recently announced that they are re-releasing 𝙂𝙦𝙦, which is a game that came out in 2006 on the PS2. So this game is going to be named 𝙂𝙦𝙦 Remastered: The Mystery of the Soulless Army, which was originally on the PS2 called Devil Summoner 𝙂𝙦 Kuzunoa versus the Soulless Army. So they've changed the name here. This is going to be releasing on June 29th, 2025 on the Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and on Steam. So if you're not familiar with this game, basically it is a spin-off of the Shin Megami Tensei series. And this is actually the only game, or at least the first one, that did real-time combat. All the others were what do you call that? Turn-based. All the others were turn-based. But this one was the first one that did real time. So there's a little bit different there. They've obviously you have like Persona 5 Strikers and stuff like that, but I don't think that's part of the main series because that's actually done by outside parties and whatnot. So the story of this game is you are 𝙂𝙦, who is a devil summoner, and you are living in a fictional time period in Japan, and you are a detective. But you are also, as a devil summoner, you are able to summon these demons and use them to your advantage in your investigations. So you are hired by a client who belongs to a very powerful family who is mysteriously and suddenly kidnapped by mysterious government officials, and now you have to find her and save her. So that's what you're going to be doing. So what you can do in this game is, you're going around, it's kind of a detective game. So you're going around collecting clues, interviewing people, but you can use your demons in the field to your advantage. And each one has special abilities that will aid you. For example, you can use the read mind ability. So, if somebody's being a bit secretive, you can figure out what they're really thinking. You can use the ignite ability to, it says inflame their emotions, so you can make someone a little more hot-headed and maybe a little more likely to say something that they wouldn't normally. Or if somebody's a little too excited, you can use the cool down ability to, calm their emotions, or even freeze water to create new pathways to access areas that you couldn't before. So there are quite a few updates to this game. They created a whole long list, but some of the biggest ones are obviously a visual upgrade. So that's, what the biggest one's going to be. But they've also added a quick save and autosave feature. They've added lock-on, so now you're not just running around, hacking and slashing. You can actually lock on to an enemy, keep the focus on them. All the allied demons in your party are going to be receiving experience. So I guess before it was only the one that was active, but now any of them that are in your party are going to be receiving experience. And they've completely overhauled combat. So you can call out 2 demons at a time. Before, you could previously only call out 1, but now you get 2 in combat, so that you can use that to your advantage. 𝙂𝙦 himself can learn special abilities that target enemy weaknesses. So then, if you target a weakness, similar to like the Persona games or any of these other games, if you target the weakness, then you could stun the enemy, and when you stun the enemy, you can go in for a really big attack, which leads to what they call the mag drain system. So mag is the shortened form of basically your magic. That they use a different word. It's not magicite, but something like that. But anyway, that's your resource that you can use your special abilities. And you can use quick attacks to regenerate that, or you can use heavy attacks just to hit hard, or you can use your special attacks, which are going to drain this resource. And when an enemy is stunned, you can use one of those abilities to just completely, finish them off. But if not, then you can go in with your quick attacks, regenerate some of your mag, and then use it to finish them off later. So you're going to have all that. 𝙂𝙦 himself is also learning other new moves. He's got a bunch of new attacks. He's got a bunch of new techniques that he can use in battle. They've added something they call the symbol and counter system. Not quite sure what that is, but it seems to be related to something that they mentioned later called a stealth strike. So it looks like when you are on the field, if you want to attack an enemy, It's going to tell you what kind, like, so you can sneak up behind them, or you can just attack them directly. And that's going to give you tactical advantages in battle or disadvantages depending on how you enter combat. They're also adding express streetcars, which are going to be allowing fast travel to previously visited locations. So before you had to run from point A to point B, but now fast travel is going to be there. So it's going to be a little bit easier to get around the city. And the previous game, the original one in 2006, had 70 demons. This game is going to have over 120, so nearly double the number of demons that you had in the previous game. And as a result of that, they've added the premium devil chart, which is going to allow you to register multiple of the same demons. So if you've played the Persona games, you know that you get your demon, and what you can do is you get your Persona, and what you can do is you can register it, and then that way, if you sacrifice it to create a new one, or you want to drop it to pick up another one, if you want to go back and summon that Persona again, you could do it if you had registered it, but you could only register one of each type at a time. Now you can register multiples of the same type. So if you want one that's a little more healing focused, or if you want one that's a little more attack focused, or one that's a little more status effect focused, you can do that, and you can have multiples of these, and then you can choose which one you want. So that's obviously awesome as well. But yeah, there's many more. They listed out, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 38. There were 38 things that they listed on their release video. So they released a long release video. I'm really enjoying these. Last time we had what was it, Silent Hill, they released their transmission. Here Atlus has released this long video where they go all into it. I love these things. I love watching them. So but you can watch it. It comes in at around the 11 minutes and 52 seconds mark. But you can check out all the things that they're added. Some of them, it'll just say like added quote stealth strike. So it doesn't really tell you what it is, but you can kind of get an idea of what you're looking at. So anyway, check it out. Raidou Remastered, The Mystery of the Soulless Army, coming to every console and Steam June 29th, 2025. So exciting.
That's gonna be a great way to start your holidays.
Yes.
Because of course, being Atlus, we know they do great games. Look at recently Metaphor ReFantazio or the Persona series. And we know that they really do great remake as well with, recently Persona 3 Reload, maybe Persona 4 soon as well. So we know that's gonna be a quality game. So no really worries on this one. You could even buy day one. And coming from me, that says something.
Well, in their defense, when you're buying it day one, you basically already know what game you're getting because it is a remaster of an older game. Yeah. There's always the chance for bugs and whatnot, but it is a remaster. It's not a remake, so it is an updated. They've changed some things, but the bones of the game are still the original. They didn't just recreate it from the ground up. So if you look at some of the animations, they are a little bit stiff, because they still have that PS2 era, stiffness to them and whatnot. But definitely looking good. My only problem is that this year has so many great games coming out that I'm like, oh, when am I gonna have time for this?
So many things.
I know.
Yeah. Well, that's a good transition because the game I'm gonna talk about now, we're not even sure it's gonna come out because April's Fool. We have no idea. So I wanted to start my my hook by saying, hey, the best jokes are the ones that you only tell once. So what is Pocket Pair doing on this one? Because they announced again, Pal World more than just pals, which is I know a bit creepy, but. Let's listen to this, right? So it's a classic school dating sim in the universe of Palworld. So it's really, for me, it's really like, like the ponies show. Can't remember, but My Little Pony, when they make the spin-off of the ponies with kind of human form in school. My daughter used to watch that. So it exists. For Japan, it's not unconventional, but it exists, right? So this game was already unveiled last year in 2024 as an April's Fool joke, But this time, the committee has been rather excited about this game for some reason, and so they are redoing the joke again, but this time, a bit more heavily. So maybe it's more than a joke. We don't know yet. So when I say they did it a bit more heavily, it's because they actually created a Steam page for it that you can actually wish list and everything. So they went quite far. But just note that there's nothing in the Steam terms of services which don't explicitly forbid joke listing. It can still be an April Fool. Elaborated, but we don't know, right? So Pocket Pair presented this joke concept of a dating sim allowing players to befriend and romance, of course. But yeah, so if you think that's a bit weird, like Rule 34 and everything, everybody has fetishes. I'm not gonna judge. Let's put it out there, right? But well, what kind of strange game can come out, right? So more than that, more than romancing and everything, if it doesn't go well, you can also dismember and eat the pals. So in this world, you're in university, you're in school, you can date, you can romance, and you can dismember and eat the potential partner. So in this world where humans and pals are, both considered sentient being, so apparently, at least on an equal footing, that makes you no better than Hannibal Lecter. And if you're too young to know Hannibal, then go see The Silence of the Lamb, unless you are too young to see that. But that's not a very good prospect. And on this topic of like, oh, what a cute dating theme. Wait a minute, because some of these spells have some yandere tendencies. And if you don't know what a yandere, go play Yandere Simulator. Just not on Twitch because you're gonna get banned. It's a banned game on Twitch. Very fun though. Or just listen to that lovely description that I took straight from the Steam page. I'm not gonna talk about Katniss that we see have a little mental breakdown at the end of the video. You can see that, but in the Steam page you have one of these spells which is called Yandere Splatterina. So listen to the description, I love it. A girl who carries a knife and exudes a dangerous scent. She is jealous and extremely possessive. She has a tendency to imprison people and will not allow the protagonist to look at anyone other than her. And here you go, in case you didn't know what a yandere is. You do. So it's not just your everyday dating sim. And just for that part, I actually really, really hope it's gonna come out because it sounds very, very, very fun. So in a bid to promote that listing, just to push the joke even a step further, the company announced on X, so we have the link, maybe we'll put it on the video later, but they announced a giveaway of a body pillow with the image of the pal called Lavender, which is a very famous pal number 69, a wink wink. And you can participate, through the link on X with a deadline of month 14th, and there's only 2, so good luck getting it. I'm not even, honestly, let's check the country. I'm not even sure if it's just a Japanese contest or if it's worldwide. Sorry, I didn't check that. Take a look before you start playing. But how do you say it in English? Like when you do it twice, maybe thrice or something like this. But Pocket Pair publishing manager John Buckley recently described More Than Just Pals as a totally not real, or maybe real, project during the March 2025 GDC lecture. They're really pushing it very far. So in this, sorry, I'm gonna just move my camera a bit. So in this game, you are of course the protagonist, and you enroll as a transfer student in a prestigious academy called Palpagos Private. Very classic setting in this kind of game. And the original trailer back in 2024 was giving us a launch date of April 1st, 2025. Question, will it come out tomorrow? Steam on the Steam page, there's no official release date. So what do you think? Real? Not real? Do you want it to be real? Hey, that's a good question, right? It could be very fun, especially with all the completely off the chart little things they could put in it. So please tell us in the comment, would you, if even if it doesn't come out tomorrow, if it's a joke or something, at some point, would you like to see it? Because they already created a, a trailer, it's on Steam. I mean, and if they do the game, they have everything, all their bases are covered. So at some point, it could become a real project. What do you guys think? That's my question. What do you think, Adam? Would you like to have a dating sim? I know you have so many games to play already in 2025, but
I do.
that kind of completely, I don't want to say completely deranged game, but almost there. That could be very fun, right?
No, yeah,
It's
it could be a lot of
sarcastic.
fun. And I mean it's in the style of a visual novel. So I mean in terms of game development, it's one of the easiest games to make. So they could definitely do this as a side project if they wanted to. I'm trying to remember, somebody else did something similar a few years back. I can't remember who did it, but they did the same kind of thing where they released a visual novel version of the game or whatever. So it's not unheard of. I don't know what's going on this year, because I saw a Final Fantasy VII remake high school set kind of thing going on too, featuring it was just some pictures posted around. I don't, but yeah, it was Cloud and Aerith and Tifa and Zack, and they're all in high school. Barrett's the gym coach. So yeah, I don't know. I guess this is the year
Yeah.
of high school drama for video games.
I'll be honest, I'm not surprised because it's very classic in Japanese RPG. Take all the tales of the maybe not the East, but this kind of game, right? It's very frequent that you have extra costumes that you can buy, and usually you have the summer, like a beach costume or school costume or casual costume. It's you know, I guess the Japanese really are focused on the festivals they have around the school year. So that's kind of the thing that you have. If you read any kind of romance manga, you will see it all the time, and it's exactly for the games. That's just Japanese culture.
Yeah, even was it Final Fantasy Type Zero? The had a secret ending where instead of the world being at war, it was at peace, and so it was the secret ending was like everyone's just enjoying their school life and going around and having the typical school drama and whatnot. So that was the secret ending you had
That's
to.
what we like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It worked out well for the whole party, and then at the end, I think one of them turned into like a superhero or something. I'm not quite sure. It's been a long, long time since I saw it. But yeah, I hope it's real.
Okay.
All right.
And with this, let's go on your second story, which I didn't mark, so surprise me.
Well, that's all right. So, if you've been keep paying attention and you've been to the PlayStation website recently, you may have noticed that actually Ghost of 𝙂𝙧 got an update on the website. So we got a little bit more information on it. So on the website, it says that Ghost of Tsushima will be released. Sorry, not Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of 𝙂𝙧 will be releasing in 2025. It doesn't give us an exact date. However, there are some rumors floating around that it may be sometime between July and August, which would be in time for the 5th anniversary of Ghost of Tsushima, which released on July 17th, 2020. So it looks like we may be getting it as kind of a 5th anniversary kind of thing. But on the website, we do get some updates on story and gameplay. So it lists, it says the legend continues 300 years after the events of Ghost of Tsushima. New warrior Atsu rises from the ashes of her homestead. Filled with fury and determination, Atsu will hunt down those responsible for the death of her family and exact her revenge. Every odd job and bounty will provide the coin she needs for her journey, but how she fights, survives, and evolves the legend of the ghost will be up to you. So this has a lot of people thinking that there might be some sort of bounty mechanic where you're taking out various, you have various people around that are criminals, and you're going to be going around and kind of taking out these bounties and collecting money so that you can go somewhere or maybe access new parts of the map or travel or something like that. So yeah, this kind of has me wondering, is this kind of, and this is something that I've been wanting for a long time, is more of a non-linear game. And by that, I mean a game like if you go back and play Mega Man, the older Mega Mans, there wasn't a linear way to play the game. You didn't have to beat boss number 1 and then boss number 2 and then boss number 3. It was, which boss do you want to face first? And, you know, when you went up against that boss, you didn't have any abilities. So you just have to defeat them, you know, the old fashioned way. But then you could get, you know, their ability and then you could use that against the next boss. So, you know, obviously if you had like Nintendo Power or something like that, it might tell you like, oh, you should go for this boss first because he's not that hard, and you get his ability, and his ability will give you advantage of this boss. So they might give you like an optimum path to beating the game. But I really like that idea of having a game where instead of, you know, like a set, we need to get from, you know, point A to point B in terms of story, just having kind of like a, okay, these are your various goals, and you know you have to get them all to get your next set of goals or whatever, but you know you can approach them in any order that you want. So I'm kind of hoping it's going to be that. It might not be, but I think that would be kind of an interesting thing to say, instead of like, okay, you know, we need to go to this castle and then we need to go to this in settlement. You know, it'd be kind of like, okay, well, we need to clear out these various things and you can kind of approach them how you want. So that's going to be interesting. Also the fact that it says the bounties will provide the coin she needs for her journey. I don't know, does that mean that money's going to be playing into training or something like that? Is that how you're going to be unlocking new abilities? Don't really know. But going further down the site, it tells us, you know, that this takes place in 1603, so it gives us an exact year. The area is obviously on around Mount 𝙂𝙧𝙦, which is in Japan's northern snowy region. And it says that this area was outside the rule of Japan, a wild frontier filled with sprawling grasslands, icy tundras, and unexpected dangers. So that gives us an idea of the kind of environments that we could be seeing here, you know, grasslands, tundras. But the one thing that I've seen a lot of people talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows recently, and one thing that people seem to like more about Shadows than they liked about Ghost of Tsushima is the fact that Ghost of Tsushima didn't have any real large settlements. You know, you had maybe a farm here or a tiny village there, but no real large city or urban environments. And that made sense because Tsushima is out of the way. You know, it's not in the main, or it's not on the main island of Japan. You know, you're kind of in the boondocks, as it were. And it looks like Ghost of 𝙂𝙧𝙦, they're saying, yeah, this is the same kind of thing. So it means that we're probably not going to be seeing any large urban environments in this game either. I know for a lot of people that will be disappointing. That, you know, it is probably still going to be very small settlements, and you're going to be mostly wandering the wilderness. I'm perfectly fine with that, but I do know a lot of people did want to see, you know, more city environments, more urban environments, you know, hopping from rooftop to rooftop like you used to do in Tenchu or can currently do in Assassin's Creed Shadows. So it looks like we're not going to be getting that. So, you know, if you're happy about that, if you don't like it, if you don't really care like me, you know, let us know in the comments. But the big thing for me personally that it says, as it says, immerse yourself in the legend, featuring massive sight lines that let you look far across the environment, skies of twinkling stars and auroras, and vegetation that sways unbelievably in the wind. Ghost of 𝙂𝙧𝙦 has been built from the ground up for PlayStation 5 consoles with enhanced performance and visuals on the PS5 Pro. So that's exciting because for me personally, the massive sight lines is a really cool thing, because that just means, you know, you can see clear across the environment. And it's really, it really is that, what was it, the Destiny thing? Like, you see that mountain over there? Yeah, you can go there if you want to. You actually can in this game, which you could in like Skyrim and stuff like that too. But, you know, just having those sight lines is always nice, that you can see, you know, where you're going. You have a good idea of like, oh, I want to go way over there. You know, that looks interesting. I see like maybe a single pagoda in the distance or something, and I want to check it out, you know. So having, you know, a larger draw distance for that sort of thing is always really exciting, because it makes the map seem, you know, that you actually have places you want to check out, and you can check them out from further away, not just happening upon them as you walk. But the second half of this also says, alongside its stunning new setting, Ghost of 𝙂𝙧𝙦 also features new mechanics, gameplay improvements, and even new weapons for Atsu to master, including the ōdachi, the kusarigama, and dual katanas. So we saw some of those in the trailer, but it was kind of like, okay, are we actually going to be doing, are we going to be able to use these? And it is confirmed that you will be having a larger arsenal of weapons. You know, Jin was limited to his sword and the bow. I'm sure Atsu probably will have a bow. We saw she had a gun. I'm absolutely sure she's going to be using that in the game. but we're getting more melee options, which it also says new mechanics. So I'm wondering if they're going to be keeping the Jin had his stances where he could, get the different stances, and different stances worked better against different styles of enemies. So if you were up against a shield enemy, a certain stance was better for that. Certain stance was better for sword enemies. Certain stance was better for larger enemies. I'm wondering if they're going to keep with the stances or if she's going to be switching between weapons. And so instead of having different stances, there's going to be different weapons. Hopefully, what I'm hoping for is that we get the different weapons and each weapon has a set of stances. So that's what I'm really hoping for. But it is going to be a much larger variety of attacks. An 𝙎𝙪𝙥𝙦 is basically a great sword. It's a very, very long katana, basically. Dual katanas obviously are going to be different, and they're probably going to be shorter than your regular katana. They're probably actually going to be like, was it the Tachi? Is it the medium-sized one? And the kusarigama is completely different. That's the sickle with a chain with a weight on the other end. So that's going to be completely different. So looking really forward to this. It does say that she's a lone wolf, and you do see that she has the little wolf companion with her. So I think they're going to be expanding on that mechanic from the Ghost of Tsushima Legends, where they had the Ronin could kind of summon these wolves. So that's probably going to play a bigger role in this. So super, super excited. And yeah, it looks like definitely this year and July, August. So I'm going to have to finish off, was it Clair Obscure Expedition 33? Because that's coming out, was it this month here in April? I'm playing Inzoi right now. I just switched over. I'm still playing some Sin Duality too. But Clair Obscure comes out this month, and then is it next month that was it Death Stranding 2 comes out, and then the month after that, or maybe a month and a half after that, Ghost of 𝙬𝙧, and there's just so many games back to back to back to back to back this year. I wish they were a little bit more spread out so I could spend more time on them, but I shouldn't complain when you're being well fed. So definitely looking forward to seeing more on this game coming out in the future. You're gonna say?
I was just saying absolutely. And is your camera all right?
Oh no, did my camera cut out again?
You have you have been frozen for me for quite a while, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, my camera cut out again. I'm sorry, guys. I have been having camera issues as of yesterday where my camera just randomly turns off. Unfortunately, the only way that I can fix this would be to back out of this entirely, shut down the entire stream, and then cut back in. But
you're good.
Yeah, but then we would have to just shut down the whole stream and start back up again. So seeing as I've gotten all my news, you're just gonna have to see a big blank screen for me. But for Antoine, yeah, he can go on and talk about his thing. You don't need to see me for this, so go ahead, Antoine, take it away.
Sure, just a question first before. You were mentioning, like lots of weapon, and you would like to have lots of style for each weapon, which would means lots of points to spend on different abilities. What do you like best? Like I know that this kind of OCD that I want to unlock absolutely every abilities. Usually when I have a tree, even though I know that I'm not gonna use half of them. Or do you prefer like Wukong, where straight from the start, you know that you cannot unlock every abilities unless you replay the game 3, 4, 5 times. And you know that you have to specialize in one specific stance, in one specific weapon, with one specific gameplay. Which one do you prefer? Do you prefer to have this kind of Wukong style of abilities, or do you prefer like Ghost of Tsushima did, like it's catered so that you can unlock 100% of the abilities easily by the end of the game?
It's going to depend on the game, and it's largely going to depend on the length of the game. If it's a game that, that I'll be playing for 100 hours, I'm probably going to want to be able to unlock everything within. So for me, it's really more about how long do I want to be playing before I have everything unlocked. And for me, if I can unlock everything in, 60 hours or so, which might seem like a long time for a lot of people. But if, under 30 hours unlocking everything is probably too fast. Over 60 hours is probably a little bit slow. So if it's a relatively short game, then I'd rather just focus on one per playthrough and get a style. So if it was a game like, say, Neo, but a lot shorter because Neo's quite long, um, I'd probably want to focus on one play style per session or per go through. Like a lot of people will play a game like Bloodborne, or they'll play uh, Demon Souls or something like that, and they'll play through one time and they'll do one build, and then they'll play through another time and do a different build. If it's a shorter-ish game, then I prefer that way. But if it's like a super long game, like a Neo, where you're playing for 100 hours plus, I'm probably going to want to unlock everything, just because I'm like, oh man, I don't want to have to play 100 hours again just to get this new stuff. So in this game, Ghost of 𝙎𝙬, I would probably say it's also going to depend on, like, okay, so I would expect in the Ghost of 𝙎𝙬, like in Ghost of Tsushima, the whole point of the stance system is that you're supposed to be dynamically switching between them in combat. So you're supposed to be like, okay, I'm facing this enemy, and then in the middle of combat, I'm supposed to switch from one to the other. If I'm doing that, and if I'm encouraged to be switching between different weapons to accomplish different tasks or approach different problems, then I'm going to want to be able to unlock most of the abilities for most of those things. If it's more of like the kind of game, like, again, like a Neo or something like that, where it's like, okay, you pick a weapon that you feel best with and you feel comfortable using, and you just get really good at that one weapon, then I'm going to want multiple playthroughs, so I can just focus on one at a time. So in Ghost of 𝙎𝙬, I'm expecting it to be more like Ghost of Tsushima, so I would want to unlock all of them in one playthrough, I think. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's good to know. And now let's finish with my second story. So quick disclaimer, everything I'm gonna talk about now are merely rumors. I usually like to have, like hard-coded facts when I talk to you, because otherwise I know that you're gonna go in comments and say, nah, you were wrong at 329 over there. It was Hammerfell and not Hammerfall, or the contrary. Can't remember. But in this case, we're gonna talk about the Nintendo Live happening on Wednesday, April 2nd at 6 a.m. Pacific time. And why do we want to look at this? It's because we are gonna talk about the Switch 2. So I think it's coming, what, 1 or 2 weeks after the Nintendo Live, which happened on the Switch 1, which was interesting. But here it's gonna be definitely all centered around the Switch 2. And here's the rumors and guesswork start. So the general consensus, let's call it like this, seems to be that the Switch 2 will be released around June 2025, and it will cost between $399 and $499 US, which is pretty pricey, very pricey, I would say, even, because the Switch first was released at $299. So it's $100 more. That's quite a steep price, especially when, well, your PS5 still works very well and the PS6 might be just a couple of years away. So is it worth it? Yeah, I think so. So the Nintendo Switch 2 US, the dates I got would be pre-order start on April 9 in the US. And Best Buy Canada recently announced that the pre-order will start on April 2nd, which is the date of the Nintendo Direct. I'd like to think that's true. However, when I try to look for confirmation, because that's what you do when you hear rumor, you try to look on several websites to see if this rumor, is being repeated or something. I couldn't find anything. So the April 9th sounds far more credible than the April 2nd. But we'll see. Maybe Best Buy Canada is ahead of everyone. Who knows? So that's something that we will see. Also, the second thing that everybody's rumoring about, what is the real purpose of this mysterious C button? I don't know if you have seen, but on the right Joy-Con, you have a little square button just below the home button, which on previous image you had a C, and the latest one there's just nothing. It's just a black screen, but for all intended purposes we'll just call it the C button. and everybody's wondering what this new button about. So we add in a Spanish liquor called Ecstasis, and he claims that this button can do two things, which would be very interesting for the first one. The second, I don't really care. But this button would be usable for connecting the device to your original Switch, which then will be able to function as a secondary controller in the same style as a Wii U. So basically, you would have your Switch One would be your pad, and that would be essentially a screen-equipped gamepad with a touchable screen. So that means that if you have this, you could emulate all the games which need a touchable screen. So Wii U, 3DS, DS, all of this, you could emulate all of these games, which would be very practical, right? Also, we know that Switch 2 is retro compatible with Switch 1. So although we don't know, and that's what basically we are waiting for, right? To see what are the launch game of the Switch 2, apart from Mario Kart, which I'm pretty sure will be out. But all the big names that you heard on the latest Nintendo Live for the Switch 1, they will be here at the start of Switch 2. So, we're talking about the Pokemon Legends, ZA, the new Tomodachi, live game. I had another one. Metroid Prime 4 would be in there. So all of these are end of Switch 1, early Switch 2. So these ones have of course confirmed. And we'll see what other game we'll have on the Switch 2. I haven't seen many rumors about which game would come out. So for me, it's a total mystery, apart from the Mario Kart again. And yeah, I'm very excited to see what they will come out with. So Adam, is there any game that you really want to see on the Switch 2 early launch, which means June? So we're talking 3 months. I know there's homework with your neighbors again, right?
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of Metroid, so anytime there's a Metroid game, I'm super excited. Legend of Zelda is always a big one, but obviously I have not played Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild, so, I'd be able to catch up on those. Honestly, I've always kind of thought Splatoon was kind of an interesting thing. I wouldn't mind seeing a new Splatoon. Or Super Smash. Super Smash is always a big one, but my only issue with Super Smash is that the current roster is so big that getting a new game would shrink it down dramatically. And I don't know, when you get a roster that big, it almost feels like a downgrade, no matter how much better a game is, or graphically, or quality of life stuff. When you have access to that many characters and then you lose probably over half the roster, it's gonna feel like a downgrade regardless. Like, there's just no way around it, especially when you have people that are like, oh, I've been maining Dark Samus for forever, and now there's no Dark Samus. Then yeah. So I would love to see maybe an updated version of Super Smash. I'm sorry, they're doing construction next door, so now my sound's all over the place as well.
That's okay.
But I would love to see kind of maybe an updated version of the latest Super Smash. Just say like, okay, it's the same game. It's got all the same things, if you get the, kind of like with PlayStation where they do like an HD remake or was like something like that, just do an updated version of it for Switch 2 version of it. That for me would be amazing.
And do you see that there's gonna be like a massive surprise, like, hey, we didn't tell you, but there's this brand new Mario game coming out in 3 months with the Switch 2, something that has never been teased or marketed or anything, just for the sake of this Nintendo Live and this announcement. Do you think they would do something like this?
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. I'm not a super huge fan of Mario. I was more of a Sonic the Hedgehog fan myself. So, if there is a new Mario, I personally probably wouldn't be picking it up, but it wouldn't surprise me if they were like, oh, hey, let's release this new Mario, because Mario is actually really good at kind of showcasing what these new Nintendo consoles can do. Either showing off the graphics of the N64 with Mario 64, or, having something to do with the new Switch remotes or whatever. But because the Switch 2 is adding that mouse compatibility, A new Mario Paint would be amazing if they added like a new because the original, if you remember, the old Mario Paint had the you could plug a mouse into the Nintendo. If you could get a new Mario Paint on Switch 2 using the mouse function of the controller, that would just be phenomenal in my mind.
Sorry, I completely forgot, but you know, I talked about the C button that there are the ecstasis, a Spanish streamer was talking about, and he said there was two functions, and I completely forgot to talk about the second one. So, quick recap. So you know, you talk about the second controller, etc., etc. The Switch. He says that apparently it would also have something to do with a chat feature which name would be Campus. For whatever good it does you. I don't really, I'm not really interested in a chat feature because I don't like to chat with other people. But this button could also be related to that. End of the parenthesis. And to get you hyped, like imagine, okay, you are not very much Mario and well, even a new Sonic like in the 90s that would have been great, but I don't feel like it would have a massive impact if they say yeah, this brand new Sonic come out with the Switch 2. Imagine like a new Zelda completely unmarketed, no one talked about it, and come out in 3 to 4 months with the Switch 2. Do you think that's anywhere possible? Oh, did I completely
No,
lose you?
no, you did not.
Oh, no, here.
No, I'm just muting it because they're doing construction next door. A new Zelda, I would not expect a new Zelda game. If it was, it would probably be a smaller one, similar to what we got with what was the recent one we got where you actually play as Zelda.
Zelda?
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, it would probably be something
Don't remember the
smaller like that.
name.
Yeah, I don't remember the name. It would probably be something smaller like that, not the Breath of the Wild or Skyward Sword or that size. It'd probably be something small, maybe like a remake of I don't know Seasons or Minish Cap or something like that.
Oh, that'd be nice. That'd be nice, but wasted on a launch of a new powerful console.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't think you could keep a new Legend of Zelda under wraps for too long.
That'd be fun. I would love to have this, but yeah, okay, that's fine. Okay, well, with this, we both did our two stories, so that will wrap up for tonight. Can you just tell us what's your schedule, stream-wise? Are you
Uh,
streaming Inzoi this week?
yeah, so I'll be streaming Enzoi tomorrow, and I'm not sure about Friday. It just is tomb sweeping here in Taiwan. I was about to say Japan. Why was I going to say Japan? I don't know. Too much Ghost Yote on my mind. It is tomb sweeping this week. Now my family has already gone and covered that because we went on was it Armistice Day or something? I don't remember the exact title of the day, but there's like a day to celebrate military officials. So we went on that day to kind of beat the crowds. But so I don't know if we have family plans. If we have family plans, I'm not going to be around on Friday, and Monday I have an appointment, so I won't be able to do it Monday. But tomorrow I should be here, maybe Friday, and then of course you'll see us here next Tuesday, and hopefully Korean will be back. And yeah, so that's where you can be checking me out.
And that's gonna be very interesting because he's gonna be back with a massive jet lagged. So just for that, make sure you tune in. And as always, you know, share, like, and show us some love. Thank you very much. And with this, we wish you a very good night if you're with me in Canada, or a good day if you are with Adam in Taiwan or in Asia. And see you next week.
Catch you later.
Bye bye.